I was born in Highland Park, and my father worked for the Department of Water and Power, and he was a civil engineer.
She comes from one of those beautiful California families with beautiful sisters and a handsome brother and a very handsome father and a very beautiful mother. And she's great looking, you know, which doesn't hurt if you're a movie star.
On January 5th, 1946, Diane Hall was born in Los Angeles to native Midwesterners Dorothy and Jack Hall.
My mother was Kansas, my father was Nebraska. They were born there, but they came very early in life. My mother was about 2, my father was also about 2. His mother, Mary Hall, was, you know, an Irish kind of farmer's daughter, and she had a lot of gumption. When I first knew her, I just thought she was a horrifying, terrifying woman. But as I got older, I really began to really appreciate her and her sense of humor and her deep suspicion of all people. She trusted no one ever, not even her own son.
She took care of herself, she cleaned, she worked hard, she was a very no-nonsense gal, elegant. They're like Dorothy, her mom, and she and her sisters, there's a kind of elegance that is not fretted over.
My mother, Dorothy Hall, she would stick us on those TV shows, like Art Linkletter's Birthday Party. I was on that. She was my muse. I mean, she was always there to kind of support me and always there to encourage me and help me create whatever I wanted to create.
Well, I know her mother, who's wonderful, who I think really encouraged her to go dumpster diving and put things together out of, you know, unusual clothes and found objects, and I think taught her a real love of the discarded junk in the world.
Look, she raised 4 kids. It's that without any help whatsoever, period. And yet she always found time, whenever she could grab a minute, to do like creative enterprises, her own creative enterprises.
In 1956, Dorothy competed in the Mrs. Los Angeles beauty pageant and won. That same year, Jack became an engineer for Orange County. Diane was 10 when the Halls moved to the town of Santa Ana.
Right next door to us were these wild bohemians. And Laurel and Bill Bassendorf were the kind of people that had the California garden that we all love now, but back in the 50s. And they would like walk around nude, and they were the scandal of the neighborhood. I mean, can you imagine? We were just always with our, like, you know, looking over the fence and going, oh, it's the Bassendorfs. And so they changed our lives. He was a psychologist. Can you imagine anything so sinful? I bought it, hook, line, and sinker, the whole package, the whole growing up in Southern California in the 50s, the whole idea about appliances being, you know, next to God, the perfect nuclear family.
The oldest of 4, Diane wrote and directed plays to perform for family and friends with her younger brother and sisters.
I think even then I knew that I wanted to be a performer, no question about it, hands down. But of course it was a tortuous, tortuous path. And one time, one of the old neighbors came by and caught me in the act of performing, and it was so exciting to me. Do you know that he said I did really well? And so this was encouragement enough for me to just go on and on and on and on with my dreams.
Uninterested in academic subjects, Diane found her niche performing in high school theater productions.
I was just very, very driven. Even though I didn't claim it, I was spending so much time working on it. I really worked on it. It was my one asset. That's the way I felt about it. It's not like I had anything else in particular except my big fat personality.
She wakes up in the morning and starts apologizing for being alive, you know, and and is always, she's like the kid in school who's always telling you how terrible she did on the tests and how awful and how she ruined it, and then gets the highest mark.
In 1963, Diane was voted Miss Personality by her classmates. She performed in summer stock and briefly attended Orange Coast College. She dropped out and moved to New York when her drama instructor helped her get a scholarship to study with the renowned Sanford Meisner.
We were too young to know, but people who did know said, you gotta go there, this guy is really good. So, of course, by the time we got there, we were already intimidated by his name and reputation.
What happened in these repetition exercises is that you would find yourself suddenly like screaming and yelling and crying and being very loving, and you would just, all these things that never happened in my life. It just opened to me the world, the extremely seductive world of feelings. And I kind of fell in love with it. I fell in love with, expressing myself.
Diane joined the Actors Union following graduation. With one Diane Hall already registered, she took her mother's maiden name, Keaton. Diane Keaton's first Broadway work came as the only actor not to take off her clothes in a daring new musical. She played the lead for nearly a year, then auditioned for a new play written by a young comic.
I just have I'm a natural gloom monger. I have a tendency to see the worst in everybody, see the worst side of everything. You know, it's just, I don't know how it happened to me. My parents are not that bad.
I remember that he was short and that I liked him, and that he didn't seem to be at all bothered by the fact that I was maybe a little taller than he was. But he made me feel relaxed. That's what he really did.
She stunned him with her dichotomy of innocence and sweetness and gullibility, and also her great sense of taste and some innate wisdom about things that was there as well.
He sort of tolerated me, and I think he appreciated the fact that I really thought he was funny. I would laugh all the time. I was always laughing.
Play It Again, Sam opened at the Broadhurst Theater in 1969. Rumors circulated that the co-stars had become a couple.
Oh, God, I don't know. I mean, he wasn't exactly drawn to me. You know, it wasn't that. It was, we were friends for a very long time, and I really pushed it. I really pushed it to try to make him like me more in another way. I think the poor guy really just sort of got worn down.
We were together for a few years, and I never found it difficult. She is a great audience, but I never found her difficult to be with. The only problem I ever had with her is that she liked to eat dinner early, and it used to drive me crazy. She used to like to eat dinner, 6:30 at night, 7 o'clock at night, and but apart from that, she was always a treat to be with.
She discovered all sorts of curiosities when she was in New York. He opened up literature and analysis and philosophy, and she was curious enough to gobble it up.
What Woody introduced me to, of course, was himself, and that's so much. Then part of that was, a different side of living in New York, going to restaurants and being introduced to a more sophisticated lifestyle than the one that I was living before I knew Woody.
When not performing, Diane explored New York, took singing and dancing classes, and discovered psychoanalysis. After Play It Again, Sam closed, Diane appeared in her first movie, Lovers and Other Strangers. Her performance earned her a part in Francis Ford Coppola's new film, The Godfather.
She was playing a rather recessive role in that movie opposite some very strong characters. And she was being used, I think, for a kind of blonde radiance, a sort of lightness to oppose the darkness that was in so much of that movie.
The epic increased Diane's mainstream exposure, as did her television and commercial appearances.
She used to do that commercial, the deodorant commercial. Was it a deodorant commercial? Yeah, where she wore that tank top. I was taken with her then.
Excuse me, ma'am. Why the tracksuit?
You kidding? Between housework, kids, and shopping, I put in 5 miles a day.
And your deodorant?
That's hour after hour, double dry. The long-distance deodorant. It won't walk out before the day is over.
Diane and Woody reprised their roles in Herbert Ross's film version of Alan's hit play.
We just worked well together. I liked her personally, and she liked me, and we knew each other very well. We were going out for a long time, and it just was effortless.
Tell her that you've met a lot of dames, but she is really something special.
Oh, that she won't believe.
Oh, no?
I have met a lot of dames, but you are really something special.
Really?
She bought it. Try not to get upset. The name of the film is Sleeper. Basically, it's an intellectual film.
You're the alien!
You won't give me away, will you? You're a nice person. I knew I could count on you. I chose Diane because she's a very beautiful actress. I want to make use of the natural qualities in her face. She's kind of graceful, and there's a certain animal intelligence about her that we utilize throughout the film.
It's hard to believe that you haven't had sex for 200 years.
204 if you count my marriage.
By this time, Diane and Woody were no longer a romantic couple off-screen, although their friendship and on-screen partnership continued to develop.
Oh, we met on the show, and then we started going out, and we started living together, and we stopped living together with complete amicability. I mean, there wasn't ever a day's or a moment's ruffle, and I mean, we were friends, obviously, when we were living together, and when she moved out, we remained great friends.
And they were making these movies that weren't made so much, and they were very successful.
I guess you could say I'm half saint, half whore.
Just hoping I get the half that eats.
You can tell when you see the movies that she experiences a tremendous freedom around him.
One of the great pleasures of movie-going is partnerships and pairings, and Tracy and Hepburn and Astaire Rogers and so forth. And there's a real bliss to these pairings when they're really good. And with Woody Allen, I think the disparity between her and him in every way was what made the chemistry work.
With Woody, it was just you go and you do it, and so you just go, and you just trust what's going on, and you just follow your impulses, and you do what you do, and if he doesn't like it, he tells you, and then you just do it again in a different way, and you don't talk about it.
Her humor is very, very strong. She's not just funny by way of her mannerism. She's also very witty and acerbic and edgy and all the things that you want someone who's funny to be.
After 3 films together, some critics viewed Diane Keaton merely as Woody Allen's sidekick. In 1976, she starred in 2 Hollywood films, then returned to New York to play a role Woody had written specifically for her.
Annie Hall was a shock. It was really, really, really exciting for me.
A relationship, I think, is like a shark. It has to constantly move forward or it dies. And I think what we got on our hands is a dead shark.
It was funny in a different way. It was funny. It was a character-based funny. And it was about telling the story more than before.
I love what you're wearing.
Oh, you do? Yeah? Oh, well, this tie is a present from Grammy Hall.
Who? Grammy Hall?
Yeah, my Grammy.
What are you kidding? What'd you do, grow up in a Norman Rockwell painting?
Diane Keaton came along at a time in movies where it was possible to do many different things, not only from role to role, but within the same role. Because I think audiences in the 70s were also hip to the fact that we're a lot more complicated than the movies have made us out to be.
You don't want me to live with you.
I don't want you to live with me. Whose idea was it?
Mine.
Yeah. It was yours, actually, but I approved it immediately.
There's no acting that you can see, you know, and she has great depth and is able to access it, well, what looks like very easily, except I know better. I mean, I know how hard she works, and she is an extraordinarily hard worker.
I want to remain friends.
Okay. Check, please. Can I?
You're mad, aren't you?
Yes, of course I'm mad, because you love me. I know that.
Albie, I can't say that that's true at this point in my life. I really just can't say that that's true. I mean, you know how wonderful you are. I mean, you know, you're the reason that I got out of my room and that I was able to sing and you know, get more in touch with my feelings and all that crap. Anyway, look, I don't want... Listen. So what are you up to anyway, huh?
There was no way I could have written that character because I was taking things directly from things I'd heard her say and her mode of speech. Everyone thought that was an autobiographical film, but in fact it was not at all. You know, because very little of that was true. That's not where I was born. My father didn't have that job. That's not how I met Diane. That's not how Diane and I broke up. That's just you know, practically nothing in the film is true.
But I know the base idea of who this person is, this sort of nonverbal person at the beginning of the movie, and yeah, you know, everything is just, that. I mean, that is, we know about that. I think I'm more instinctive than verbal and more visual. I think I've gotten a little bit better at expressing myself through words expressing my ideas through words, but not great.
I think Diane was, at that time, was Annie Hall. I really do. I think that when I met her, there was a lot of that energy in her. 20 years ago, there was a little bit of darkness in Diane. There was a bit of anger and apprehension and angst.
It took her years of growing to feel that she deserved to be taken as seriously and to be direct about wanting to be taken seriously. Because, you know, everybody fell in love with this inarticulate person that couldn't say a sentence.
In 1977, Annie Hall was a surprise hit and became Woody Allen's most commercially successful film to date. Annie became a cultural phenomenon.
She was trying out a lot of different emotional styles in that movie, as well as fashion styles, and she set a kind of tone for a kind of enlightened gawkiness that was picked up on in the 70s by a lot of people.
Woody knew that I should just be me. He always thought, well, she always looks so much better when she just comes in like herself. So that's what he gave me. He gave me, again, like my mother, in a strange way, the courage just to be myself. And then he gave me the opportunity to be myself.
She's just a great natural. She has no guile. She never tries to self-aggrandize herself or make points or be impressive. It's just a good piece of luck. She's a great judge of material. It's a fortunate thing, and I've glommed onto it and have gotten the benefits of it for years. You know, people always say I've made a big contribution to her career by putting her in films, but she's made at least as big or bigger one to me.
In 1978, Diane Keaton won the Academy Award for Best Actress. Annie Hall beat out Star Wars for Best Film and won 4 Oscars in all, including Best Screenplay.
I did say when I accepted the award for Annie Hall, I thanked the Academy for giving this honored statue to a foreign film, and it got a very big laugh from the Hollywood group there because we all knew that this was different from a Hollywood film.
I never thought in a million years I would ever win for Annie Hall. I never thought that Annie Hall would win Best Picture. Are you kidding? It was an unbelievable thing.
Diane Keaton's breakthrough role made her Hollywood's top female star, seemingly overnight.
And I remember in those initial Annie Hall days being pursued by the paparazzi. I was horrified. I mean, I just thought it was so rude and oppressive.
You know, Diane handles success in my opinion, brilliantly. She is not swept away by it at all.
She isn't a narcissist and didn't want to become one, and at a certain period of time, it's really hard not to be.
I think that the fact that she knows how to keep her private life private is something that makes people have an appetite for getting in. But with Diane, yeah, you have to be curious because it's going to be hard to find anything out that she doesn't want you to find out.
She has a really strong sense of right and wrong, and a strong sense of privacy. Any friend that you interview with Di will, go as close as you can, but not go any further than they would think would be comfortable for her.
For me, I'm just glad. I'm glad I got the opportunity to play me. I only feel grateful because otherwise, where would I be? I mean, hello, we wouldn't be sitting here doing my A&E biography. I mean, I would not be anywhere.
First of all, I think she's one of probably the two best screen comedians ever. Judy Holliday and Diane are the two best, but she's more complex than that and has wanted to play offbeat parts and not just take the path of least resistance.
When Diane Keaton came up, she was still operating in a movie era in which it was possible to take on different types of roles that you weren't immediately typecast.
Diane won the highly coveted dramatic part in Looking for Mr. Goodbar, as a teacher who cruises singles bars for men and drugs and is ultimately killed. The film was released shortly after Annie Hall, and Diane became recognized as one of Hollywood's most versatile actresses. For the next 10 years, Diane would take primarily dramatic roles. Her next two films would be her last with Woody Allen for many years.
When I needed her to be very dramatic in interiors, again, it was, I think, an effortless thing to her. Before I met her, I wasn't very good at writing for women. I used to write all the roles for myself. But after I got to know her and was able to write for her, it helped me write women's parts much more easily.
In 1981, Diane received an Oscar nomination for her next role in Reds, as Louise Bryant, the wife of communist writer Jack Reed. Again, she co-starred with and was directed by the man with whom she was romantically involved. This time it was Warren Beatty.
Excuse me. Now here's the thing. I'd be a goddamn fool not to take you up on this offer, so here's what I want. I want to sign my own name to my own stories, and I don't want to use a double byline. I want to be responsible for my own time and my own actions. I want to be referred to as Miss Bryant and not Mrs. Reed, and I want to keep an account of every cent we spend so that I can pay you back. Now, I assume you know that I'm not going to sleep with you, so just don't confuse the issue by bringing it up. That's it.
Fine.
Good.
Being the couple in the movie, the couple off the movie, the director and the actress was just enormously difficult. The bleeding between the relationship in the film and off was just a very difficult time. They're both very hard workers and very perfectionistic in their ways.
I think she's had one mentor, and that's Woody. And Woody stayed a close friend of hers all her life. I think the other men that she's been involved with, the famous actors, the Pacinos and the Beattys and the Steve Martins, all amazing, amazing, sort of great men. Those relationships stayed somewhat in the range of famous actress having fantasy about famous actor.
I know that when Diane Keaton was involved with Woody Allen and with Warren Beatty, the sort of yin and yang of American movies in the 70s, that she was, whether she liked it or not, very much in the public eye.
And when I have to watch myself talking on these particular shows, I'm always upset and dismayed by how I didn't really get to the essence of anything. And your private life is so special. And also, I have to respect the people that I've been involved with in my life and the privacy of it.
By the mid-'80s, Diane Keaton was recognized as much more than Woody Allen's favorite leading lady. Critic Molly Haskell wrote that her roles were likely to be women who were divorced, widowed, analyzed, uprooted, and otherwise tampered with before the opening credits.
You were with your lady friend.
My what?
Lady friend!
Lady friend, what kind of a word's that?
It's like fucking, only you don't tell anyone about it. That's what it is.
Do you want to talk about it? Don't you think we ought to talk about it? I see. Don't you think we ought to talk about it?
No, George, I don't think we ought to talk about it.
I think we ought to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it.
I want to talk about it.
Certainly a film like Shoot the Moon, I think, is one of the most harrowing examples of broken up marriage that exists in film. And that, for me, was the performance that really signaled a major breakthrough with her as an actress, that she's absolutely ravaged in that film and extraordinarily vulnerable. Ultimately, she became one of the strongest American actresses in movies such as Shoot the Moon, Mrs. Soulful, Little Drummer Girl, not necessarily the movies that everybody knows her for.
She plays strong women. She's kind of like Hepburn, you know. Hepburn played smart, urban women who would have emotions but responded in a mature, intelligent female reaction, and that's kind of something I think she's been drawn to.
She's very honest, I mean, you know, which is disarming also. In this town especially. She says what she feels, but you know, it's a little bit risky sometimes, depending on who you're speaking to.
She has high standards for people. She's a big reader of people's psychology and sensibilities.
It's hard to talk about a friend in something like this because you don't want it to be like, she's just this fabulous, perfect person, and she isn't. She's extremely complex. She's extremely intense.
Honestly, I think that Diane is a great example of what analysis and therapy can do for you. She gives herself a lot of personal freedom. I think she doesn't censor herself the way a lot of us do.
And over the years, either through analysis or yoga or maturing or smarts or whatever, she really has come to terms with herself.
When I got older, I always thought that the power of my feelings would always make relationships work. And of course, it worked the opposite way. You get out of control, and then you don't have control over what you say to people or how you feel or your angry moods, and then it's a nightmare. I think you really do learn to compartmentalize as you get older. You have to. Otherwise, you'll just go insane. They will put you away.
I mean, Diane is a unique bird because she's known as an actress, but there is another 15 worlds in Diane.
During the 1980s, Diane Keaton took fewer acting roles and pursued her other creative outlets.
She always was creative, making things, collages. She used to, if there was anything bare around an apartment, Diane would collage it, you know.
She is a very visual person, and I would say a serious photographer. I mean, she spent years of her life with a big camera around her neck, walking around, taking tons of pictures wherever she went.
I really loved interiors. So I started shooting hotel lobbies, and because I was Annie Hall, somebody was willing to publish the book. Because believe me, they wouldn't have if I hadn't been. That's why I really have to say, again, that I owe everything to Annie Hall.
She looks at art all the time, and when she comes to projects like these, she brings to it a real curiosity and a real kind of rigor, a real sense of intensity to it that most people don't. And so after she did the first book of her photographs, everybody was saying, are there going to be more? Are there going to be more?
I was never a good photographer because I think it takes something that I really don't have. I'm an amateur. I'm nobody special. What's happened, what's evolved into in the bookmaking is more and more that I find, you know, other people's work and let the world see that.
At age 41, Diane returned to comedy in Baby Boom. She starred as a tough New York businesswoman struggling with sudden motherhood.
We wrote it for Carol Lombard, so she wasn't available. So Diane kind of epitomizes the kind of actress that you don't see too much anymore. Very sexy, pretty, and real funny.
She's a real comedian. There's very few of them. I don't think she was taught it. I think it was just, it's part of her being.
You know, she's like a racehorse, you know, she's ready, ready, ready. She had those earphones on. I remember her pouncing around, ready, ready. You know, and then she throws them off, and man, you know, there she goes.
I mean, I am a career woman. I am used to having phone lists and dinner meetings. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Not that. I have been yupped and noped to death by you guys. I have had it with whiskers and plaid. Look at me. I am going nuts. I used to be cute. I'm not prepared for wells to run dry. I just want to turn on the faucet and have water. I don't want to know where it's coming from. Another 6,000. Oh.
Critics praised Diane's performance, comparing and contrasting her so-called comeback to her past iconic role, Annie Hall.
The wardrobe was a key ingredient in that movie that became, I think, very identified with Diane and Baby Boom. There was a whole style thing going, and she's also got great legs.
Diane does not show her body. I remember once we were in Atlantic City and she wanted to go swimming, so we met in the lobby and she was dressed head to toe in black. So there we are, traipsing through the lobby, Diane head to toe in black, out to swim, back through the lobby, drenched in head to toe black.
Each outfit is its own little artwork. You know, she puts it together. She might as well be designing a building. It's sort of more like architecture than it is clothes.
Do you know where each of these things comes from?
I definitely do.
Where'd the red flower come from?
This is, you know, I've had this flower for about like 15 years.
How often do you wear it?
Never.
Diane's photographic interests extended to film directing. She began with music videos and commercials before embarking on her own project.
I think she's motivated, truly, by a huge fear of death. I think and I think this is something she shares with Woody Allen. She's an atheist. She thinks this is it. The only light there is the light of the oncoming train, you know, at the end of the tunnel.
There was this sort of film at the Mormons Visitor Center that depicted heaven. Well, I sat there and I watched this thing and I thought, okay, somebody has to do this. Somebody has to do a documentary on heaven and just show all the ways on film that man has depicted heaven and how absurd it is.
Heaven actually is,
Heaven's it's like all white, and you walk on things like the ground is like made of cotton balls and stuff, and since everything's white, you eat things like they look like marshmallows, you know.
It's just so Keaton. It's so weird and poignant. And I guess it's because I see that stuff and those people talking about heaven through her eyes.
I'm not afraid to die because I think it's just the beginning.
Just hope I do it peacefully.
It's just the strangest concept I've ever heard of. How is it possible? All eternity. What are you supposed to do?
A lot of people, I think, misunderstood heaven. They thought that it was a documentary making fun of people who believe in heaven. And I think for her, she was stunned by that.
Yeah, I got killed for that film. You know, nobody liked that film. It was a critical bomb, and I really had to take it. And I really felt that, okay, I'm sorry I made the film.
In front of the camera, Diane played a range of serious and comedic roles, including several as a mother.
Nothing is more fascinating to go to dailies and see Diane's stuff, because it does change from take to take. And amazingly, you sometimes think, oh, she's improvising the words, and many times she isn't improvising the words. She's just making the words sound improvised.
Diane and I once, we'd finished a couple of scenes, and we thought we had a nice thing happening, on screen, and we started to talk about it. We just said, let's not. This might go away.
I will stop hyperventilating, rolling my eyes, unbuttoning my top collar button.
I don't unbutton my
You mean this bit? This...
Stop hyperventilating, rolling my eyes and
Unbuttoning
unbuttoning my top collar button.
I will stop making faces in general, and I will definitely stop telling everybody I meet how much this wedding is costing.
Don't tell everyone how much it costs.
He told you, right?
250 a head?
Oh, well, thanks.
Yeah, certain people have a real chemistry. Her and Steve have a real chemistry. Look, she's real funny. You know, Steve Martin's a genius. Woody's a genius. I mean, they're really as funny as they get, and she is on that level.
After a 14-year break, Diane Keaton and Woody Allen re-teamed on screen for their 6th film together.
She makes me laugh so much. There are so few people that really make me actually laugh. And I don't mean that few people I appreciate. There are many I appreciate, but she actually makes me laugh.
I think he looks at me and goes, ugh, ugh. And I think I look at him and go, spare me. You know, I think that's what it's about. I think that's our relationship in life.
In 1988, Diane moved back to California after her father's death to be closer to her family. She bought and began restoring an historic Lloyd Wright home in the Hollywood Hills.
The fact that Di has created these homes and been passionate about creating this complete, unique aesthetic, and then as soon as the process of creating is over, she's not attached to it anymore and she'll go on to someplace else. That astounds me.
One day she'll be acting, one day she'll be directing a movie, one day she'll be editing a book, one day she'll be writing in her journal, one day she'll be collecting objects. It's just nonstop. You know, even though the world knows of her as an actress, her friends know her as a creative person.
In addition to buying and restoring homes, Diane continued her volunteer work with the elderly and other humanitarian causes.
It's just built into her. She does the right thing and feels the humane way automatically. She's fundamentally a very decent person.
I just have a vendetta against people who don't respect and enjoy and listen to older people. They dismiss them because they're so terrified of the fact that they're going to be there someday, and they'll do anything to avoid being there.
Diane further honed her directing skills in television. In 1995, she directed her first studio feature, Unstrung Heroes, a drama about a young boy and his relationships with his dying mother, father, and 2 eccentric uncles.
Well, I mean, I think to be a director, you really have to have your observational skills heightened a little bit. And I think that is a very releasing and wonderful thing, because when you're an actor, you're spending a lot of time in that trailer thinking about yourself. When you're a director, it is all directed out.
Everything in the movie was Diane. I mean, down to what I wore, to what was on the walls, to the photographs. I mean, every little detail was important to her. And that's stimulating as an actress when you have someone that cares that much.
You know about Diane's blue thing. You don't know about her blue, that she hates the color blue. Would never wear blue, and banned blue from the film. She didn't want anything blue in the film.
But all that changes, by the way, because now I love the color blue. Look, blue.
You know, you're involved in this too, huh?
Steven, what are you doing here?
Let me in.
All right, come on.
Come here. Hey. Come here. What are you doing there? Hey, come over here. Hey. Hey. Hey, Lee, open that door. Open that door. Look, you two.
Barricade the door. Use those books. There's some more at the end of the hall. Hurry!
Unstrung Heroes, I thought, was an amazing movie, beautifully directed. And the performances that she got out of the cast, I had never liked John Turturro much up until that point. Andie MacDowell was sort of pretty but vacuous, and yet she got these amazing performances from these people.
Diane's role in her next film, Marvin's Room, earned her a 3rd Oscar nomination. That same year, The First Wives Club, starring 3 50-year-old actresses, was a surprise hit. Diane Keaton was one of the few actresses over 50 still being offered leading roles. Nevertheless, in 1995, She put her career on hold to start a family of her own. She adopted a baby girl, Dexter.
Well, I failed at relationships, there's no question. That my intimate relationships with men didn't work at all. I would hold on to those 50s notions in my mind.
I don't think she's a great emotional compromiser. I mean, she was drawn to very powerful, very interesting men. And it was also a conflict because she's a strong and powerful and interesting woman. So, therefore, she's a single mom. And it just works better for her.
I was terrified of the notion of being an old maid. And here I am. I'm an old maid. That's what happened. I'm an old maid. You know, I'm like Emily Dickinson. I'm that. But now I've come to realize that that's not so sad. I'm not really sad or miserable about the fact that I turned out to be Emily Dickinson. I mean, not a genius, of course, but I mean that my life is that I'm an old maid.
In 2001, Diane adopted her second child, Duke.
She's just much, much happier in her life now that she's a mother. They are her main focus.
Diane's getting better about being a workaholic because when I first met her, no question she was. She, wasn't in a relationship and didn't have children then, and it was like, wow. I mean, I was 22, 23 years old, and I couldn't keep up with her.
There were certain expectations about the clothing Dexter was given, and mainly it was to be black and white, right? Because that's what Diane liked at the time. But that changed very fast because, of course, then Dexter started to choose her own colors.
As a new mother, Diane balanced acting work with her other interests, including collecting images for book projects.
It's so exciting to me to find beauty and I think they're beautiful. Of course, everybody thinks I'm nuts, but I think these clown paintings are beautiful. I really do. With the clowns, it's really funny to me because they're comedians, and the comedians are always that dark side to the comedians, and who cares? I'm so bored with what I'm saying. It's so boring. Anyway.
She's always creating something. And it's not over. She's one of the few actresses that at her age still has an extraordinary film career.
I don't think I'm going to be ever like a big star like I was when Annie Hall happened. I think that's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, and that's over. As long as I can stay busy and useful in some capacity, I'm happy.
I just love how she's allowed herself to have the confidence and express the confidence that has grown over the years from learning what can change and what can grow and what's just here.
I think the thing about me is you can slap me around, but I just keep coming back. You can just push me over and I'll just pop back up. That is the one thing that I can say about myself, is that I just won't stop. I really won't.